Alrighty, guys. Thanks for tuning back into another episode of the No Fire Podcast, episode 20 today. We're excited to be here. Got some fun stuff to talk about. I had a question for you. And I think I know where I stand on it, but I want to see what your opinion is.
Okay.
Do you think that looks determine how people get treated? Like, do you think pretty people get treated better?
I feel like it depends on like the place, the circumstance. Like, do I feel like I see that happen? Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like, I mean, maybe I'm just ignorant to it, but I don't feel like it's constant, but I do see it.
Like, you think it's scenario based? Like,
I
depending
do.
on the situation?
Yeah. Like where you're at.
I think that's fair. I think what kind of goes through my head is like my preconceived notions of people. And I think everybody thinks like pretty is a different thing, but I think the more attractive you are, the more often people are going to go like into an interaction with like a positive mindset, as opposed to like, say, the complete opposite, somebody that, you know, maybe looks dirty and like looks like they don't take care of their appearance and maybe they even smell. You go into that like experience or conversation or whatever the interaction is, maybe like a little bit, you know, standoffish, maybe
Just hesitant, probably.
yeah. So I think it has, at least for me, it has, I mean, that's just how my brain works.
Does this have anything to do with your table the other day?
No.
Oh, you had a table that didn't smell great.
They're super nice.
They're very nice.
They're fine. They're so easy to take care of.
I thought that's what you were going to say, and like,
no.
that's funny.
No. I mean, yeah, I mean, we take care of people. We serve people for a living. So, like, we always have preconceived notions of how somebody's going to act. And it's more upon the initial, like, first interaction that I base, like, my feelings off of. Like, I don't really care what somebody looks like as long as they're going to treat me with respect. Like, I always treat people with respect regardless of how they treat me, because that's my workplace and that's what I'm there to do. So regardless of the interaction, I'm going to treat them, you know, respectfully.
Yeah.
But, you know,
As we should.
if somebody treats you disrespectfully, then I'm like, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I feel
yeah.
that.
and that's
I
just,
feel that.
that's just how the human brain works. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
But I don't know. I think, I mean, personally, this might be a little fucked up, but pretty people kind of are stuck up sometimes and expect to get treated better than everybody else, which
Yeah.
I don't think I do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe, you know, the world kind of works that way. Because the reason I got this question was from a Reddit post of a girl whose sister is much more attractive than her, leads a completely different lifestyle. And it's not because she's smarter or has better skills. It's purely because of her looks. She dates men who are famous, attractive, and have lots of money. So she leads a lifestyle that's completely different from her sister.
Well, I also feel like that is a big thing right now too. People trying to get like financial freedom from like sugar daddies, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I can't hate on it, you know. if
I'm
you
not
know,
hating. Do what you got to do, boo.
yeah, if my life was different,
Yeah.
you know, maybe I would have some lady paying for some stuff. I don't know.
Listen, I just bought you $8 chapstick. You got a lady paying for stuff.
Thanks, baby.
You're welcome.
Dr. Squatch came out with some chapstick, and I wanted to try it, so
I got one of each scent.
yeah, I like it. I put it on, so
You like it?
yeah, it's not like overpowering.
It's specifically
scent.
for men, so
I like it. I like it so far.
good.
Feels nice. It's not like super like oily or anything.
The real test will be later if your lips feel like more dry or if they feel like actually like
Hydrated.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the relationship corner. If you guys have never watched our podcast before, we do a section of the podcast called the relationship corner where we talk about relationship topics, relationship stories, things in our own relationships, all sorts of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So this week, I hopped on TikTok and I found our guy Therapy Jeff, and I was going through some of the videos, and I stumbled across a video with the top 8 deal breakers for a first date. So is there anything that you can think of off the top of your head that you're like, oh, that's definitely a red flag, like deal breaker, first date, like would not date again?
Hates their mom.
Okay.
That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
Like, if we're on a first date and you start talking about your mama issues and how you hate your fucking mom, probably not going to be a good thing for me.
It's a no.
It's a no for me, yeah.
No.
That's the
All
first thing I thought of.
Well, we can go through this list and we can give our opinion on it. Okay, so in the last spot, number 8, orders food for you without asking what you want. Who the fuck does that?
Yeah, I mean, that's strange, especially on a first date. Like, I could see you doing that for me now just because you know how I am and you know what I like. But you would still ask me, so.
Yeah, I would never just order something without asking another person if that's what they want. What if they have dietary restrictions? What if they're allergic to something? Like,
yeah.
It's just a very tool, douchey move.
Agreed.
Deal breaker for sure.
Okay.
Next on the list, we have on the phone the entire time.
No. Sorry, fuck you.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker too. It's like you came to be on a date with me, not to be on a date with your iPhone or whatever.
It just, if you are already doing that, what is my incentive to go forward with you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, deal
Doesn't
breaker.
look good for the future. Next, smokes. He wasn't specific on like smokes cigarettes, vapes, smokes weed, like hits the crack pipe. We don't know. But just smokes.
I wouldn't say deal breaker because
It's not a deal breaker for me. I think that smoking cigarettes specifically is probably an unhealthy habit.
and it doesn't smell great.
And it doesn't smell great, but it's not an instant deal breaker for me.
Agreed.
I think it's just a bad habit.
Yeah.
Bad addiction. Next, doesn't ask questions and talks about themselves the entire time. So it doesn't ask questions about you and talks about themselves the entire time.
I don't want to say like a deal breaker for me because I feel like maybe if you like get caught up, I don't know, maybe it is a deal breaker.
I think it depends on the scenario.
Yeah.
It depends on the attitude of the conversation. Maybe that
like if
person's...
it naturally went that way, like, okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe that person's nervous and they don't want any like awkward silence.
Yeah.
And maybe they asked you a question in the beginning and there was an awkward silence. So now they're just trying to fill all that empty space with them babbling on about themselves.
Yeah. I could see that.
But you never know. It could be a deal breaker. It depends on the situation, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Next up. Calls their exes crazy.
I mean, we've all had a little crazy in our life.
I don't think this is a deal breaker for me.
No.
Maybe if you just blanket statement like everybody I've ever dated is crazy type of thing, that might be a red flag, but maybe not a deal breaker. It's like, well,
are you the problem?
Something doesn't sound quite right here.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, I don't care about that.
But yeah, it has potential to be something wrong, but I don't think it's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
So we're getting pretty high on the list. We have the top 3 coming up. So next one is a Joe Rogan fan. I think that is not, I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me.
To us, it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
I don't know what Joe Rogan did to the world that everybody hates him so much right now.
The thing about Joe Rogan is that he does give his opinion. He has a podcast. That's whatever. But I feel like he has a very open mind and he's willing to listen to anybody and kind of be agreeable in that sense and be an interviewer that, keeps the story going and makes it entertaining. So just because he has, some people from different aspects of the world or with different beliefs doesn't mean that that's the type of person that he is, or whether the person that's listening agrees with everything. Just because you're a fan of listening to the Joe Rogan Experience doesn't make you a certain type of person.
Yeah, you could listen to it for pure enjoyment. You can listen to it because you have opposing views. You could listen to like it's.
I've listened to a ton of Joe Rogan stuff, and the ones I enjoy the most are like he had a guy, Bob Lazar, on. Bob Lazar is a known person that worked at this place called S4 with UFOs and tried to back engineer them and came out with a story decades ago and continued the story. And that's one of my favorite episodes because I like anything Bob Lazar and hearing his story again. And he's just so consistent. It's so entertaining and just, I don't know. I like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I hate women. Like it doesn't breed toxic masculinity.
Forgot about that as well. That.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I don't care enough about.
I also don't watch him enough to know what his real like opinions on
Agreed.
much is. They just talk about off the wall shit, as far as I've heard.
Yeah.
Next, number 2 on the list, they're sexist.
It's a no for me.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of a deal breaker. If you think, I mean, you know, not to spread toxic masculinity, but there are like certain things that you can say that I'd be okay with. But if it was just a blanket statement like men are just better than women can't work, type of things like that, that's deal breaker for me.
I don't know what I would do with myself if I didn't work. Like,
mean,
I would just be working
on
on something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't not have, like, a physical job to go to and then not physically be working on something else. You know what I mean? Like, if I could quit today, I would just be doing crystals full time. Oh, yeah.
You'd be doing something full time. I think most people would, and unless you're just a lazy human being.
Yeah, it would be. I couldn't, like, I say it would be nice, but I can't wrap my head around not doing something because I can't turn my brain off.
It'd be nice to not have a normal job.
It would be nice to not have a normal job.
I think that's understandable.
Oh, boy.
Number 1 on the list.
Yes.
Rude to the server.
Oh, hell no.
I mean, for us specifically, like,
yeah.
Clear deal breaker. In no scenario are you ever rude to the server.
Like, the server could be a dick to me, and I would still kill them with kindness.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they're also handling your food. So.
Very true. I forget,
watch
like,
out what you do.
I've never thought about, like, messing with someone's food.
We work in a corporate, workplace where that's not tolerated. You get fired at the tip of a hat if you say something wrong, let alone do something to somebody's food. That's not something that even crosses our mind.
Yes.
You work in a little mom and pop place and you got a customer that's being an asshole.
You do you, boo.
You don't want their patronage anyways. You don't want them to come back. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I agree with most of the things that are on this list.
Yeah. There are a couple that were like, meh.
There's a couple where we differ a little bit. But yeah, that is brought to you by Therapy Jeff on TikTok. Check him out.
Therapy Jeff.
He's a couples counselor, a certified couples counselor. We're not certified, but, we have life experience, so,
I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's that?
I was watching what is it called? Married at First Sight?
Right.
I love it. I know you're not, like, I just think it's interesting how they, like, match these people and, like, they cohabitate. And from an outsider looking in, I feel like I can see more red flags than they can, but that's not the point. Anyway, the point of it was, one of the couples were having an argument, and I thought the argument was interesting. Mind you, the person who said it, like, he's not, like, malleable at all. Like, he's doing things his way, and he's not going to listen to what you have to say. So I feel like coming from his perspective, it was, like, interesting to hear, because he wasn't trying to bend. He wasn't trying to, so whatever, doesn't been a break, and he made a comment saying that compromising too much in a relationship will cause you to like lose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that's true?
Yeah, at a certain point, sure.
Like, how much compromise do you think you would have to do to like not be yourself?
I mean, a lot. You think of it in the aspect of never doing anything that you want to do and only ever doing what your partner wants to do.
Yeah.
That is going to make you so depressed and resentful, and it's going to change you as a person.
Agreed.
So there is a point at which you're bending over backwards for your partner and you've become somebody else now.
Okay. Well,
I think that's true.
I guess I could see that.
There is a point at which there's too much compromise.
I guess I've never been pushed to a point that I feel like I've had to compromise that much that I would have to change my identity.
Well, the thing about a healthy relationship is that compromise is supposed to include what both parties want.
Yeah.
In a positive way and be beneficial to both of you. If the compromise is just conceding to that other person every single time, then it's not even really compromise.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. I got one more relationship question.
Okay, go.
Are you pro or anti ghosting?
Again, I hate to say this like every time, but I feel like it's scenario based. Like, if I went on a first date with you and you were fucking creepy and I just was not feeling it, I'm ghosting you.
Yeah.
If we went on a few dates and I started seeing things I didn't like about you, I wouldn't ghost you then. I would feel like that would have to be a conversation. But if it was a one date kind of thing and I got the heebie-jeebies and wanted to run, I'm probably ghosting you.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think if there's not like a deep emotional connection, then ghosting somebody is totally fine.
Even like after a few dates, like I still wouldn't ghost you then, but...
Well, the thing is, if somebody doesn't reply to you and they're not replying to you, that sends a clear message that it's like, okay, like this is over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that person's not getting a closure, but do they deserve closure?
I'm pro ghosting when it's necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
I've had some weird situations where it was necessary. like didn't want to give you my phone number situation and somehow we still exchanged numbers, never speaking to you again.
Yeah, I mean, that's, well, yeah.
Like if I felt like forced to give it to you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No, never talking to you again.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, I think that'll wrap up the relationship corner. Thanks for tuning into this portion of the podcast, and we'll go ahead and hop on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So I had a time in my life where I'll call it my pathological liar stage.
Oh, God.
And it wasn't that it was malicious and in the intent that I was trying to deceive people to the point where they thought I was somebody different, or, you know, I was giving people the wrong impression of things. I just wanted to tell fake stories.
You would just fabricate these intense stories with the straightest of the faces.
Yeah, I would always reveal that they were fake stories at the end.
From your friends, I've heard that there were some stories that you didn't, like they were here and I don't remember what the story was, but Mike was like, wait, that was fake? That never really happened? And I remember him being like mind blown because for all these years he's thought it was a true story.
Well, I mean, if it had no, like, you know, repercussions,
I guess so.
Then sure, just let it fly.
That's funny.
That is funny. I wish I knew what the story was.
I also wish I knew what the story was.
But yeah, I would, you know, we used to sit around and smoke weed all the time, so I would just come up with these fantastical stories of situations that never happened. That would be, you know, for entertainment.
Yeah.
And I did this for years.
I feel like we started dating and that was like the end of that era for you. I mean, you still did it when we were like probably like our first like year or two of us dating. I feel like you don't do it now.
No, I don't do it anymore. Yeah. My brain doesn't work the same way that it used to.
You know what? Because you stopped smoking weed.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. It activated something in me that made me a liar.
No, it just made you creative.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I need to get back on the ganj.
Get on the devil's lettuce.
Yeah, we'll see. Probably
Start
not.
gardening with me.
Probably not.
Probably not, no.
Give me a panic attack. So I have another portion of the podcast. We'll introduce it this week. I don't know if it's something that's going to reoccur. Maybe it'll happen every few episodes, but we'll call this Millennial Moments. So we're gonna flash back to some memories as a kid. So one core memory that I have is getting ice cream from the ice cream truck that used to drive around the neighborhood.
Mr. Softy?
It wasn't a Mr. Softy. I don't think there was a brand.
You didn't have that here?
I have no idea what the fuck that is.
Soft serve ice cream?
Absolutely not.
Oh. So you mean like when you say ice cream truck, you mean like the bars of different things like strawberry shortcakes and the Ninja Turtles and...
So I'm saying big white ice cream truck. On the side, it's plastered with all these different popsicles and different like bars and stuff that you can get, and sometimes they would have candy and other things that you could buy as well, and have like the prices, and it was on the side of the truck.
Okay. Different.
So explain to me what this is that you're talking about.
Mr. Softy was also a big truck, but like think UPS truck, white and maybe blue, I think it was. And Mr. Softy was a soft serve ice cream, and you could do chocolate vanilla swirl, or vanilla. And then they had all the different sprinkles, as you call them. They had the rainbow ones, and then the chocolate ones.
Tell me what they're really called.
Jimmies.
Mm-hmm.
They had the chocolate jimmies and then the rainbow jimmies, and then they would like they had the syrups, like the strawberry syrup that you would put over it. Oh God. And it would drive through the neighborhood, and it had like a song that it played. God, I'm like salivating right now. Now I want Jeremiah's.
I'm jealous because I love soft serve ice cream, and I did as a kid, but nothing ever like that.
It had to be an up north thing, because like here I remember after school we had the guy, which I don't know if you had this either, after middle school he would be by the park, which really sounds creepy now that I'm saying it. He was a really nice guy though, and he had a white van, and he did the like crushed ice with the stuff on top of it. Yeah. But his wasn't just like mediocre, it was like flavorful. It was like a lot. And then he had like different like popsicles and stuff, and he also had candies that he would sell. Really sounds sketchy now.
Well, this is like totally different from my experience. So I was gonna say like, what was your ice cream truck order, but you had something completely different.
Yeah. Okay, well tell me what I'll tell you my softy order, and then I'll tell you my other order. Go.
Okay, so do you know what a screwball is?
Yeah, with the gumball at the bottom.
Gumball at the bottom.
We had those, yeah.
Yeah, I would get if they had it, I would get the blue one.
Okay.
Every single time.
That's what you stuck to.
I would get the screwball, yes. And then like a handful of times, which is, I don't know why it's like so like impressed in my mind, that I got candy cigarettes.
I loved candy cigarettes.
Yeah.
I was obsessed.
So really just sugar sticks.
Yeah. But they were so fun to like, to pretend that they were cigarettes. Anything else you got?
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay, so I have 3 technically orders that I'm going to give you, because Mr. Softy, it was like core for me, I guess younger, maybe like elementary school, because it was a Jersey thing, now that I'm thinking about it. But I did the chocolate soft serve with the chocolate jimmies, or the chocolate with the rainbow jimmies. It just really had to depend on my mood that day, but that's like always what I got. Never got the swirl. I never wanted the dippy thingies. Like, that's it. For the guy who does like I can't remember what they were called. They were called something different. They weren't like Italian ices, because they were just, or they weren't.
It wasn't like called like a snow cone?
No, it wasn't called a snow cone. That's what I meant to say. Because it was
shaved ice.
It was more shaved than normal, and more flavorful. Like, he gave us like a spoon that we could like eat it with. Oh, so good. And I did like, it was coconut and something else, like coconut and cherry, coconut and blueberry. I was always mixing coconut, but coconut was my base.
Yeah.
And then for the ice cream truck that you think of.
Mm-hmm.
I did you know how they did the characters?
Yeah.
I always did a character. SpongeBob was like core memory of what I can think of with his big eyeballs.
I remember getting a Ninja Turtle one.
Yeah, Ninja Turtle. I remember because my brothers, they love the Ninja Turtle ones. But anything goofy like that, like I remember a red head, like a red something that was like, I don't remember what it was, but it was good.
Yeah.
Or strawberry shortcake.
Oh, I did get that a couple times.
That's like a go-to for me.
Yeah. It's a problem that they sell that in stores now.
Yeah, I just always want to buy it.
Agreed.
So good though.
All right, next on Millennial Moments. Do you remember having to bring in school supplies?
I do.
Specifically in elementary school.
Yep.
What are like the things that you remember bringing in?
Crayon boxes, tissue boxes, soap. That's like the what I remember.
I don't know why. I don't know if it was a thing like right when I got into elementary school, hand sanitizer was massive.
Hand sanitizer wasn't a thing yet. Hand soap was for me.
Like,
I'm only a few years older than you, but it's like that different time. Like
maybe I'm thinking middle school.
No, that would make sense for you.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just remember like buying giant bottles of Germex.
Yeah, no.
But what really stuck with me was having to buy floppy disk.
Oh, that's funny.
Giant packages of floppy
I'm
disk.
surprised that you had to use those.
Yeah, I didn't use them. I had to bring them. Like that was so you would get a list of school supplies.
Yeah.
And you would have to bring like a certain amount of things in. And I remember being really young and having to go and try and find floppy disk. And they were going out of style when I was like a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were moving over to CDs.
Yeah.
Because CDs could hold more memory. They were easier to use. Most computers had CD trays.
That's what my mom used was floppy disk, which is like crazy.
Yeah, and they would hold like no memory on them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure at my parents' house I have a giant box full of floppy disks.
That's funny.
I don't think they have anything on them. I think they're all blank.
That's even funnier.
Yeah. Just no use for them. Old and out of date and can hold like 1 megabyte.
Very true. The neighbors are getting food delivered. I'm jealous. I'm hungry.
All right, next. Do you remember moon shoes?
No.
You don't remember moon shoes.
Mm-mm.
So think of like a giant oval that would fit around your foot. And then it has like these almost exercise band looking like pieces going into the center. And you strap your foot on top of it. And you can like bounce on them.
No.
I never bought them, but I always saw the infomercials of the moon shoes. And the kids in the commercials like bouncing around. I guarantee they sucked in real life.
Yeah, probably.
What about sock and boppers?
Oh yeah, I had those. That's where I was going with it. Is that sock and boppers? Me and Imani used to fuck each other up with them.
Yeah, I never got them. My parents would never order anything from infomercials.
I don't know. My stepdad went to the mall to one of those stores that sells all those things, and that's where he got them from. Did you ever do Skip It?
Is that the thing you put around your ankle and you swirl it around?
Yeah.
I never had one personally, but I had neighbors in the neighborhood who had them.
They were fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good memory.
I had neighbors that would buy like all of that type of things for their kids. So I got to play with everything.
That's nice.
Just never got to own it myself.
Yeah. Well, still.
Just made me jealous.
Just got the experience.
We'll call the millennial moments period over. I want to call back to a previous episode where I tried the coconut Dr. Pepper for the very first time.
Oh, yeah.
So, breaking news. We have a rating system for the flavored Dr. Peppers. Do you want to guess what number 1 is?
The coconut?
It's the coconut. The creamy coconut Dr. Pepper is the number 1 flavor.
It is very good.
Like, nowhere on the list is regular Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say like, oh, everybody likes this better than regular Dr. Pepper. But among the flavors, it's number 1. And I can't say I disagree. So I want to go through the list real quick. There are 7 of them. Coconut being number 1. So let's start at number 7. birthday cake Dr. Pepper. Do you remember that?
Never seen that.
Never seen it, never had it, never heard of it until I looked at this list. Apparently, it came out in 2019. Number 6 on the list, we have Dark Berry.
No, it
Apparently
doesn't sound familiar.
Tastes like grape Dr. Pepper. Also
Oh.
came out in 2019.
I would like that.
They also mentioned cough syrup too, so maybe it wasn't
not.
so good. Those are the bottom two flavors. Number 5, we have cherry Dr. Pepper, which I've had before.
That's good.
Came out in 2009. I'm pretty sure they still sell that in stores.
Maybe.
That one's a pretty good one. Solid flavor. So, I mean, that means that the ones above it have to be pretty decent. Number 4, we have strawberries and cream.
I've seen that in the stores. It looks weird.
It's okay. It's not like great.
It's not appealing.
It's okay. Not my favorite Dr. Pepper flavor. In number 3, we have Dr. Pepper and cream soda. That one's good. I like that one.
Yeah, I do like that one.
We've had that, yeah. And then number 2, berries and cream, which originally came out in 2006 and then made a reappearance in 2022. Never had it, never seen it, but I want to try it now.
Yeah, maybe Target.
Maybe, I don't know.
They always have the accelerator flavors.
Well, it came out in 2022, so I don't know if it's something they're still making or not. But
True.
And then number 1, the creamy coconut. I mean, it's just champion, absolute king of sodas. If you haven't tried it, go to your local Walmart or Publix, Target, wherever you may shop. Hopefully they have it. It is absolutely top tier soda.
Pretty good.
So I'm counting down the days. In just a few days, House of the Dragon Season 2 is coming out.
I know, I can't wait.
So in honor, I rewatched Season 1 of House of the Dragon, and it was incredible. Honestly, better than the first time I watched it. It was like that for me for the regular Game of Thrones show. When I watched it the second time around, I think I enjoyed it more than I did the first time.
I rarely watch another season around again.
I don't know. It brings me so much joy to watch a show that I previously watched and really enjoyed. Like, I only do that with like really top tier things. There's a couple anime that I've rewatched, and it just gives me so much joy, and the emotional moments just hit so much harder. And I've done that with several live action shows as well. Game of Thrones, now House of the Dragon. I can't think of another one off the top of my head, but I'm sure I've done it before. So, in memoriam, I want to recap where we left off with House of the Dragon, because you leave at a point where there is so much tension that it just leaves you wanting more. And that was the whole reason I rewatched the first season, because I remembered it left on, I wouldn't say like a cliffhanger, but at a point where a lot needs to be done and things are about to happen.
Yeah.
So rewind to however long that came out. I feel like 2.5, 3 years ago. So beginning of the show, we have Princess Rhaenyra, the king, Jacaerys, Alicent, Rhaenyra's friend, and these are the 3 main characters that kind of play in the turmoil that plays out over the first season. And Daemon as well. Daemon is Jacaerys' brother, who is the brother to the king. Jacaerys has no heir. He has not had a male son. He spitefully doesn't want to name Daemon, his brother, the heir to the throne, because he's irresponsible, and he can't listen. And he just
doesn't listen.
No, he just flies off the handle. And Daemon in the beginning, you're like, oh, this is kind of a bad dude. But after watching the season, you start to like him more and more. He's still aggressive, but you start to side with him a little bit and he becomes a little bit more agreeable. Jacaerys spitefully names Rhaenyra, his daughter, as the heir to the Iron Throne. Well, Jacaerys ends up marrying Alicent, Rhaenyra's friend, having many sons, and Jacaerys gets sick, and this plays out over many, many years. They do a time skip in the show. Rhaenyra, since the age of like 14, is basically being trained to take the Iron Throne and to rule the kingdom. And then on Jacaerys' deathbed, he tells Alicent in a weird, like, prophecy type of way that he wants Aegon, his firstborn son, to take the throne. So he dies, and then the Hightowers, Alicent's family, twist things in a way to make it so that Aegon can take the throne. And then in front of, massive crowd of the people, they name him the rightful king, yada yada. This gets back to Rhaenyra, and Daemon is married to Rhaenyra at this point, a little incest going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their own family. So Rhaenyra's got her family at Dragonstone, and Daemon goes into full, like, it's battle time mode, basically. Like, he's super offended, and he starts to, like, take control a little bit. But Rhaenyra, on the other hand, is more focused on keeping the realm together, making sure that she's not ruling over ash and fire, is what she basically says. Or, like, dust and ash, whatever she says. Basically, she doesn't want to rule over people who have been burnt to a crisp and everything's destroyed, which makes total sense, and she's being very sensible in this moment. The Valyrians recognize that, and then she ends up getting support from them, which they have the biggest fleet in, the kingdom or whatever. So she's got more dragons, she's got all these ships and everything, so she has quite a bit of support. And it comes to the point where they're all standing around a table, and her sons suggest that instead of sending ravens out to, call their bannermen who all swore an oath to, fight for Rhaenyra as queen, they're like, let us ride Dragonback and go talk to these, lords and stuff and get their support, basically, is what's happening. So both of her sons set out. Lucerys and Aemon end up going to the same place. So Aemon is Alicent's son. They both ride Dragonback to go get the support of a lord. And Aemon was already there when Lucerys gets there. So basically the lord is like, you're not offering me anything. Aemon offered, like, to wed my daughter or whatever, or offered a marriage pact of some sort. So he's like, get out of here. You're not getting my support. You're not offering me anything. So Lucerys leaves on his, dragon, which is huge, but much, much smaller than Aemon's dragon. And Aemon is pissed because Lucerys had sliced his eye earlier in the season. He's the one who wears the eye patch. Yeah. So he's already really jaded. He's like, give me an eye. Like, an eye for an eye. Like, that's where we're at. You owe me this. Lucerys is like, no, I've come here as a messenger. And the Lord is like, he came here as a messenger. Like, let him go. Well, Lucerys goes to leave, gets on his dragon, starts to fly away, and Aemon follows him on his massive dragon. And Aemon, I think, had the intention of just scaring him.
I don't know about that.
Aemon's dragon ends up eating not only Lucerys' dragon, but Lucerys himself.
Yep.
So Rhaenyra's child has just died. And the closing scenes of the episode are her getting the news. Daemon, pulls her to the side at, like, the war table and delivers this news, and you kind of just see her break down a little bit, and that's how the season ends. So she was being, very thoughtful in the way that she was going about things, trying to, keep the realm in peace and, get this decided with the minimal amount of casualties, which I don't think is going to happen now because you just killed her son. Yeah. So what can you do at that point?
It's fucked up.
Yeah, she's going to go wild, I'm sure. I'm excited for season 2, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the No Fire Podcast. If you guys want to check out the video format, we post every Thursday on YouTube, the audio format on Spotify, or just go ahead and Google our name, NO-FIRE podcast, and we will pop up somewhere on there. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.